Safi, karibu tena mtazamaji, hapa ni Bonita Media na kama kawaida kwa majina naitwa Boniface. Sasa sitazungumza sana kwenye video hii. Nataka nikuchezee, kuna jambo fulani hapa ambalo Pro.Fred Ogola analizungumzia. Pro.Fred Ogola anasema kwamba tumeona tu mabadiliko pale kwenye maofisi tofauti, ma PSS, ma CSS, na anatueleza kwa nini anajaribu kuelezea ni kwa nini William Samoei Ruto anabadilisha watu. Ushaelewa? Ni kwa nini analeta huyu anatoa huyu, ni kwa nini anafanya hivyo. Mtazamaji, ningependa tumsikize Pro.Fred Ogola mpaka mwisho. Alafu baada ya kutazama hiyo video ni vyema utaniambia we mwenyewe maoni yako ni gani. Nimeweka into an audio form kwa sababu ya yale mambo ambayo haiwezi akaepukika. Kule ambako nimeitoa inabidi wakati mwingine nifanye hivyo. So ningependa usikize mpaka mwisho, alafu mtazamaji, ni vyema pia utaniambia maoni yako ni gani, na tukutane kwenye video ambayo inafuata ikiwezekana. Nimekuwa wako Boniface. Sikiza.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk to you about which way Kenya. And which way Kenya is, we are just facing an imminent cabinet reshuffle, which is also involve reshuffling and even bringing some people into PS position among other government positions. So when the Gen Z went to the street and told Mr. President that the way you are running the country is not the way we want, and gave him demands, has he actually followed the demands? Now there's none, because there were 9 points which were needed there. And none of them is working, including the constitution of IBC, the constitution of the cabinet, of course, the issues about corruption, the issue about debt, the issue about accountability, the issue about bringing women into government, involving youth and the rest. What we are seeing is that the president is trying to look for survival. And looking for survival in politics is not a bad thing. The only issue I'm asking, will it work? And I've done my research and found out that there is no amount of coalition building that will save the president, because even if you have so many party leaders, many political kingpins together, but you're not delivering to Kenyans, there's no synergy. I can tell Mr. President that Raila Odinga lost to him with the 27 political parties supporting him. Yet, William Ruto only had 7 political parties. Synergy means 1 + 1 is greater than 2. So if you add William Ruto plus Raila Odinga plus Joho plus Oparanya plus Mbadi plus, name them, just add all those people in the broad-based government, then tell me whether those additions are adding up in influence or it is diminishing the influence. I can tell you, the more they add themselves, the more their influence is actually fizzling out. So there's no amount of tribal mobilization also that will save the president. And also, there is no amount of what is called reshuffle of the cabinet when you are bringing people who cannot add value to your cabinet. I can tell you, recycling ideologically retarded, ideologically, I would call them retired, and ideologically tired, ideologically tired, ideologically retired, and ideologically retarded, demonstrate something to us that the president is not keen on bringing the ideologically innovative, creative, intelligent, industrious, progressive, creative talent that the young people have, the Gen Z have, when they can come with AI. Are you seeing any of those people you're bringing can be able to operate an AI, let's say, software? If the country is if this world should be run by machine learning, ML, AI, artificial intelligence, yet you are bringing us people who are born before computer, are you really progressing the country or not? So, because the country is being run with what I would call reverse gear, because if someone was a cabinet in Kibaki's a government, then you bring them now to Ruto's government, even after serving in Uhuru's government, are you not driving the economy with the reverse gear? The ideologies that were used for running Kibaki government, which were being used for running Uhuru's government, cannot take us where we need to go now to compete the world of nations, where countries like Rwanda is picking up, Ethiopia is picking up. Some countries can host African Cup of Nations much better than Kenya. Kenya needs to be given as a favor. So I want the Kenya Kwanza government to think about the industries, the energy, the intelligence, the creativity, the innovation that is in the youth to come back to be able to go forward. Because if you continue recycling these people, it is not going to work, because I can tell you, Kenya is in a crisis of leadership. Kenya is in a crisis of the economy. Kenya healthcare is in a crisis. Education sector is in a crisis. Healthcare is in a crisis. Tell me any sector you know of, even agriculture, is there's a crisis. There is no single sector in Kenya that is working. And I was being told when I was learning about innovation in my PhD that during crisis, what you need is innovation. You don't need to recycle ideas which never worked. What brought us here cannot take us there. And why we can't go there cannot be solved by the very tools that have created the very problem we have. If William Ruto said that it is Uhuru Kenyatta that damaged the economy, why do you recycle his former cabinet? Because if he was the one who created the problem, he created plus his cabinet. Why do you bring us people who served in Kibaki's cabinet? Why do you bring for us some people who are governors who are rejected by voters? Then you bring them back to government. So we know very well that the Kenya Kwanza government do not think want to work. I heard someone saying the confusion has been brought out by the Constitution of Kenya 2010 on how now education sector, how governors are sharing money with the national government to finance the education in terms of bursaries and the rest. Let me tell Mr. President that that is not the case, because Uhuru Kenyatta ran this government using the 2010 constitution. So nothing has changed. The constitution is still the same. Kibaki also used between 2010 and 2013 when he handed over to Uhuru Kenyatta. So the common denominator which is there is Kenya Kwanza government. So the issue cannot be the constitution. The issue can only be the Kenya Kwanza government as a denominator. And Mr. President, we want to succeed, because if we don't succeed, we are in trouble. Those saying we are waiting for you to fail to move forward is not going to help. What we want is that we want a change. And I want to tell you, Kenyans are not looking for even a regime change. Regime change is not enough. Because we have had this regime change from Kenyatta to Moi, from Moi to Kibaki, from Kibaki to Uhuru, now from Uhuru to Ruto. We are not looking for regime change. We are looking for alternative leadership, alternative government, serikali mbadala that has some software differences. Alternative leadership is a leadership which will be working on the new softwares, the creativity, the intelligence, the innovation, the new ways of doing things that are going to do things differently so that we can compete in other nations. Let us not run Kenya as if only Kenya is the country that exists in the world. There's what you call competitive of nations. As we are messing up with our system, there are some countries getting it right. For example, as young, intelligent, industrious, educated, innovative, creative people are being put in dark cells or dark rooms, some other countries are putting them in innovation hubs, creative innovation, using their intelligence to advance their growth. So do you want to tell me the countries using their youth right will be beaten by countries misusing their youth by locking them in cells, they are dying, disappearing, and the rest? No. I want to tell Mr. President that just like God said, you have been given the intelligence of the young people, what we call a human resource, which is the Kenyan people. The other resource you have been given is financial resource, which are taxes and the money you borrow. The third resource you have been given is natural resources, which contains the earth, the water, the sea, land, water, and sea. Now, what God is asking you, Mr. President, is to add value in these resources. Do not reduce value. Does abduction add value or it decreases value? Does disappearances of these people add value or reduce value? Does holding them incommunicado add value or reduce value? And could you put these people in ICT centers, which is in Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, which maybe someone stole from you? And I want to tell the person who stole the manifesto, return it back to you. And because maybe the people you have around you may not be able to help you, can you challenge these young people who are being abducted to take that manifesto and show you how SHA, SHIF, CBC funding model can work using this manifesto, using their AI and their machine learning to produce results instead of giving them somebody who should be in a museum to run ministries on their behalf. Thank you, Mr. President. I hope you're listening. What we want is results. We don't want models. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless Kenya.